I'm preparing to divorce my iceberg of a husband after 3 years of marriage. He hands over his monthly allowance without fail and never misses a gift on important holidays, yet he remains as cold as an unmelting block of ice. My mother-in-law tried to persuade me, men, especially military men, aren't good at expressing themselves, that's normal. But what I want is a warm stove that provides comfort, not a frostbitten deity that leaves you freezing to death. It wasn't until I pushed the divorce papers in front of him that a voice I'd never heard before exploded in my mind. Don't you dare sign. If you do, I'll die right in front of you. All my savings are in the army green box in the third drawer of the nightstand. The password is her birthday, give it all to her. I was stunned as I stared at this man who had remained utterly expressionless from start to finish, without even a single furrow of his brow. Sign it. The house and car are both yours. I'm leaving with nothing. My voice was calm, but my heart felt as though it was being sawed through with a blunt knife. Our wedding anniversary, which was also my birthday, I waited for him all night, but he never came back. The next day, the news showed his figure trudging through a mudslide for over 10 kilometers, carrying an injured woman on his back. He became a hero, and everyone sang praises of his deeds. Only I knew that the woman was his childhood good sister. As his legitimate wife, I didn't even receive a single call of explanation. I was exhausted and decided to let myself go. The man across from me, Zane, was dressed in a crisp military uniform, the golden stars on his shoulders gleaming, making his already icy demeanor even more pronounced. He silently picked up the pen and swiftly unscrewed the cap. Just as I thought everything was about to settle, that voice in my head spoke up again, dripping with the frustration and despair of someone who had given up all hope. Fine, I'll sign. It's not like she ever loved me anyway. These 3 years, she barely even looked at me. I'm just a failed ATM for her emotional needs. Whatever, after the divorce, I'll apply for the most dangerous missions and just die out there. I abruptly looked up, eyes locked onto him. His expression remained unshakably cold, his gaze steady, betraying no hint of emotion. But the voice in my head was still frantically flooding my thoughts. Why are you looking at me? Do you think I'm completely useless? Can't even keep my wife? Huh, what a man. Serves you right. Who told you to be as dumb as a clam with your mouth shut? My heart jolted. What on earth was going on? Was I hallucinating? Why aren't you signing? I tentatively asked. His fingers gripping the pen turned white at the knuckles from the force, yet what came out of his mouth was the most hurtful remark, thinking about how to get more of the assets. Bullshit. I'd gladly tear my heart out for you. Take more. Take as much as you can. Don't live so miserably in the future, don't scrimp a few $100 to buy those no-brand rags online. Boom, I felt like these words could blast the top of my skull clean off. The version he spoke and the one in his mind were completely different. I clenched a corner of the divorce papers, the sheet crumpling under my grip. Zane, are you hiding something from me? He lifted his eyelids, those deep eyes showing no ripple of emotion. No. Yes. There is something big. I'm going crazy loving you. But I don't dare say it. I'm afraid that if I do, we won't even be able to maintain this fragile, ice-like relationship anymore. I'm terrified you'll find me disgusting. My heart wrenched violently. I won't divorce. The words almost spilled out of my mouth. After saying that, I noticed Zane's hand holding the pen tremble slightly. He looked up at me, his gaze carrying a scrutiny I hadn't even realized was there. To avoid raising his suspicions, I quickly covered for myself by pointing to a clause in the agreement, pretending to be very dissatisfied. Why should I get the house and the car? This Mangshur is your pride and joy, you drove it back and forth on the training grounds, earning the nickname Lone Wolf of the Northern Desert. What? Giving it to me so your dear little sister can ride in my car later? I deliberately brought up that dear sister to see his reaction. Zane's face darkened instantly, the air around him dropping to an intimidating low. Ava has nothing to do with us, he said in a cold, hard voice. What do you mean it's nothing? If she hadn't suddenly twisted her ankle and insisted I carry her, would I have missed your birthday? As soon as I get back, I'll file a request to transfer to the farthest frontier outpost. She'll never get to show her face in front of me again. Daring to come between me and my wife? She's got a death wish. Watching his indignant internal monologue while staring at his icy, unapproachable face, I suddenly found it a little amusing. This man seems just a tiny bit more endearing than I imagined. To test this bizarre ability, I decided to fan the flames a little more. Fine. If there's nothing between you, then call her right now, in front of me, and tell her to keep her distance from now on. No more running to you, her so-called big brother, for every little thing. I crossed my arms, refusing to back down. Zane's brow finally furrowed. Fight. Must fight. Fight now. Let her know I, Zane, am not some public heating system, but a personal little heater for my wife. But, wouldn't this make me seem childish? Like a jealous elementary school kid? No, need a more mature, foolproof solution to settle this once and for all. He fell silent for a moment, then looked up at me with a tone of unmistakable firmness. Luna, a soldier's duty is to follow orders and save people from peril. Ava is a victim of disaster. Carrying her was part of my responsibility, nothing more. If you insist on divorcing over this, I have nothing else to say. With that, he placed the pen on the agreement, adopting a do-as-you-please attitude, completely unconcerned. If I couldn't hear the wild bull in his mind ready to trample everyone, I might have actually believed his nonsense. I picked up the divorce papers and tore them into pieces at a leisurely pace under his tense gaze. All right, I'll trust you this once. I noticed the faintest upward curve at the corners of his tightly pressed lips. Meanwhile, fireworks of joy were already exploding in my mind. Thank goodness. My wife didn't leave. She stayed. She still cares about me. I knew it. I should train harder tonight. Must improve my physical fitness. Aim to have our love's fruit soon. My face flushed instantly. What kind of wild thoughts was this man harboring in his mind? I tore up the divorce papers, and this storm passed, for now. Zane seemed to sigh in relief, but his face remained unreadable. He silently gathered the shredded pieces and tossed them into the trash, meticulously, as if disposing of some confidential documents. After cleaning up, he sat across from me, with only a coffee table separating us. The atmosphere was awkward. What should I say? I love you? Too sudden, it might scare her. Ask if she's hungry? Too cliché. Compliment her looks today? Would she think I'm just a smooth talker? Listening to his internal struggle, I couldn't help but chuckle. So this battalion commander, who barks orders on the training ground and leaves no room for argument, turned out to be nothing more than an awkward, love-struck boy when facing me. I'm hungry. I decided to give him a way out. I'll cook. He stood up almost immediately, moving as swiftly as a soldier responding to a charge. Watching his tall figure disappear into the kitchen, I followed and leaned against the doorframe. He took ingredients from the fridge, handling them with neat efficiency. His knife skills were comparable to a professional chef's, slicing the potatoes into even, thin strips. Those hands that usually held guns now wielded a kitchen knife without the slightest hint of incongruity. He seemed to sense my gaze, pausing briefly in his chopping, the tips of his ears turning faintly red. Is she looking at me? Oh God, is this apron too childish? Pink strawberry print. She bought it last time, saying it was adorably contrasting on a grown man. She must still like me. The smile on my lips deepened. That apron was indeed my purchase, meant to tease him back then, but I never expected him to keep it and wear it every time he cooked. Just then, my phone rang. It was my childhood best friend, Sophie. Luna. Are you crazy? You're really not leaving him? Keeping that kind of man for the new year? Have you forgotten how you cried like a little teary mess all alone in front of your birthday cake that night? Sophie's words came rapid fire. I instinctively glanced at Zane's back. His chopping motions didn't stop, but my mind picked up on his nervous signals. She cried? She actually cried? Because of me? I'm such a fool. Zane, you're nothing but a scoundrel. Your wife's birthday and you weren't even there, leaving her to cry alone. 100 deaths wouldn't be enough for you. His knife slammed down onto the cutting board with a loud thunk. I jumped. I can't talk now, I'll call you back later. I hurriedly hung up the phone. What's wrong? I stepped forward, looking at his tense profile. Nothing, just slipped. His tone was flat, but I could see the veins bulging on the back of his hand. He picked up a piece of ginger and started chopping fiercely, as if he weren't preparing a meal but settling a grudge with someone. It's all that Jinx Ava's fault. Made my wife cry. I'm gonna buy a voodoo doll tomorrow, write her name on it, and stick it with needles. Who knew Zane was so superstitious? To calm him and the ginger in his hand, I gently hugged him from behind, wrapping my arms around his waist. His body instantly stiffened, and the air in the kitchen seemed to freeze. She hugged me. She hugged me first. Does that mean she forgives me? Oh my God, my heart's beating so fast, it's going to jump out of my throat. What should I do? Should I turn around and kiss her or just keep playing it cool? Asking for a friend, this is urgent. I could clearly feel the muscles in his waist and abdomen tighten instantly, like a white-hot branding iron. Zane, that day. I was really sad. I pressed my face against his broad back, my voice muffled. I thought you didn't care about me. The knife in his hand was finally lowered. He remained silent for a long time, so long I thought he wouldn't answer. He turned around and somewhat clumsily hugged me back, enveloping me entirely in his arms. His chin rested on the top of my head, and I caught the faint, pleasant scent of soap from him. Sorry. His voice was hoarse. I'm sorry, my love. I don't know how to love you properly. I'm afraid my scarred body and the darkness in my heart might frighten you. I worry I can't give you the romance you deserve. All I can do is offer everything I have in my own clumsy way. Hearing his sincere words, my nose tingled, and tears nearly fell. It turned out he wasn't lacking in love, it was just deep and awkward. Just as the moment was perfect and I was about to say something to bring us closer, the doorbell rang at the most inopportune time. Zane let go of me to answer it. Standing at the door was a woman in a white dress, wearing delicate, understated makeup and holding a thermal food container. It was Ava. She saw Zane opening the door, her eyes lighting up with a sickly sweet tone. Zane, I heard you were back, so I specially made your favorite blackbone chicken soup. Oh, Sister Luna, you're here too. Her gaze fell upon me, carrying a faint trace of provocation. Before I could even speak, Zane's thunderous roar echoed in my mind. Holy shit. How did she find me? Is this woman equipped with GPS? Damn it, my wife is definitely going to misunderstand again. I won't be able to clear my name even if I jumped into the Yellow River. No way, I gotta get her out of here quick. Zane's face darkened like a pot bottom. He stepped sideways to block the doorway, separating me from Ava, his voice frigid enough to drop ice shards. What are you doing here? Ava was taken aback by Zane's attitude, her smile freezing for a moment before quickly returning to that pitiful look. Zane, how can you say that? I just care about you, worried you might not eat well after your mission. I didn't mean anything else, Sister Luna, don't misunderstand. As she spoke, she deliberately glanced in my direction. The sheer art of her White Lotus act was practically overflowing. In the past, I might have been too furious to speak, slamming the door and storming out instantly. But now, I'm a woman who's unlocked cheat codes. Leaning against the kitchen doorframe, I watched Zane's performance with leisurely amusement. Misunderstanding? This is no misunderstanding at all, this is sheer provocation. Trying to steal my wife? Not a chance. I'll weld the windows shut too. How can I get her to leave quickly without looking like I've lost my cool? Zane's mind was raging internally, but his face remained as expressionless as ever. He took the insulated lunchbox from Ava's hands and spoke in a strictly professional tone. Thank you, I appreciate the gesture, but please take it back. Don't do this kind of thing again, it doesn't look appropriate. Ava's eyes instantly welled up with tears, her voice quivering. Zane, I only see you as a brother. Brother? Go to hell with that. My parents only have me as their one and only child. Since when did I acquire some wild little sister? I've been tolerating you out of respect for your dad being my father's old comrade in arms, but now you're practically stepping on my wife's head. If you don't get out now, I'll call the guards. I nearly laughed out loud. Zane's ability to say one thing while meaning another was truly unmatched. That's right, Ava. Zane is already married. As an unmarried woman, constantly running over to a married man's house isn't good for your reputation. I sauntered over leisurely, linking my arm with Zane's stiff one, smiling like the picture-perfect virtuous wife. Zane and I are doing just fine, no need for your concern. As for that soup, you'd better take it back and enjoy it yourself. After all, a woman should prioritize being good to herself first, don't you think? My words carried hidden thorns, and Ava's face turned pale then green. Zane's arm stiffened like a steel plate, but he didn't pull it back. I could practically hear fireworks in his heart. My wife is amazing. That was so well said. Shut her down. That's right, we're doing great. The kind of relationship that lasts a lifetime. Ava bit her lip, tears welling in her eyes, but in the end, she took the lunchbox, stomped her foot, and ran off. A war without smoke ended in my complete victory. As soon as the door closed, Zane relaxed all over as if he'd fought a tough battle. He glanced down at my hand still gripping his arm, and his ears turned red again. She's holding my arm. Her hand is so soft. Can I hold hers back? Would that be too forward? I could feel the warmth radiating from his arm, and my heart was filled with sweetness. Now that the green TB*TCH is gone, shouldn't you reward this perfect wife of yours? I looked up at him teasingly. His Adam's apple bobbed slightly, and his eyes darted away, avoiding my gaze. What do you want? I'd give you my life. If you want it, if I have it. No, that's too cheesy. Better be practical. Hand over my salary card? Wait, I already did. Then, all my military medals? Those are my most precious possessions. Hearing his inner thoughts, my heart felt as if it had been gently struck, soft and aching. Those military medals were the honors he earned with his life amid bullets and explosions, the things he treasured most. And yet, he wanted to give them to me. I stood on tiptoe and kissed his slightly reddened earlobe. Reward for you, you can sleep with me tonight. After saying that, I let him go and ran back to the bedroom, my face flushed. Zane stood there dazed, and only after a full half-minute did his excruciatingly delayed mental signal finally reach my mind. She kissed me. She even said I could sleep with her. Am I dreaming? Happiness came too suddenly. I need to take a cold shower. Calm down. Wait, no, I should take a hot shower first, wash myself until I smell nice. Listening to his incoherent inner monologue, I lay on the bed, buried my head under the blanket, and laughed until my whole body trembled. This man is truly a hidden gem. At night, I lay in bed after showering, feeling a little nervous. Although we've been married for 3 years, Zane and I have slept in separate rooms for 2.5 years. At first, it was because his missions were demanding and his schedule was irregular, he didn't want to disturb me. Later, it just became a habit. Today was the first time I took the initiative to invite him. I pricked up my ears, listening for movement outside. The shower shut off, followed by deliberately softened footsteps. The bedroom door eased open, and Zane stepped in. He had only a towel wrapped around his waist, his bronzed skin still glistening with water droplets. The sculpted lines of his muscles radiated raw strength, his abs sharply defined. My face flushed, heart racing, as I quickly buried my head under the covers. Is she embarrassed? Am I being too exposed? But the wardrobe is over here. I should have gone to the guest room to get dressed properly before coming in. Zane, you idiot. He hastily pulled out his pajamas from the wardrobe, turned his back to me, and quickly put them on. Then, he stood by the bed for a long time, like a statue. Which side should I sleep on? The left or the right? Which side does she usually sleep on? If I sleep there, will I crowd her? Will she kick me off the bed? I couldn't hold back anymore and poked my head out from under the covers. What are you standing there for? Come up. He let out an "oh," stiffly lifted the covers beside me, and lay down. The mattress sank a little, and I could clearly feel the warmth radiating from his body. The two of us lay side by side, separated by an invisible boundary line, neither daring to move. In the darkness, I could hear his heart pounding like a drum. So nervous. Even more nervous than my first time on the battlefield. What should I say? Wish her good night? And then what? Just go to sleep like this? No way. My wife took the initiative. I can't be this clueless. He seemed to make up his mind and inched closer to me. His warm body pressed against mine, and my heart leaped into my throat. He reached out carefully, as though handling some priceless treasure, and pulled me into his embrace. His chest was broad and firm, radiating a deep sense of security. Luna, he began, his voice unusually deep and hoarse in the night, I'm really sorry about what happened on your birthday. I shouldn't have hesitated. Even if it meant breaking protocol, I should have called you first. I should have told you, I wasn't choosing not to come home, I couldn't. It's okay. I know you were saving lives. I leaned my head against his chest, listening to his strong heartbeat. But from now on, no matter what happens, I want you to tell me first. I don't want to hear about my husband from the news. Okay, he tightened his embrace around me. I promise you. No matter where I go or what I do, I'll always let you know. My life belongs to the country, but my heart is yours. Listening to his burning confession, my eyes welled up with tears. I reached out and wrapped my arms around his waist, burying my face in his chest. Zane, then, what about that good sister of yours? How are you planning to handle that? I couldn't hold back and finally asked. He remained silent. My heart sank. Could it be? Deal with her? Absolutely. Make her vanish from my world completely. Tomorrow I'll swap guard duty with someone else and go to the border outpost, that godforsaken place where even birds don't crap. There's no way she'd follow me there, right? No, then I wouldn't get to see my wife. Better to file a report saying she's disrupting military family morale and sabotaging a military marriage, then have the unit issue her a warning. Yes, that's the way. My heart instantly soared from rock bottom to cloud 9. So he wasn't hesitating, he was figuring out a permanent solution. Her father was my father's old comrade in arms. He sacrificed himself to save my father years ago, Zane began slowly, explaining. So since childhood, both families have encouraged us to take extra care of her. But care doesn't mean having no boundaries. You're my wife, you're my boundary. His voice wasn't loud, but each word carried unshakable conviction. Anyone who dares cross my boundary will have no tomorrow. At this moment, I was completely conquered by this man who appeared cold but was warm inside. I tilted my head up, accurately found his lips in the darkness, and kissed him. His body stiffened again, then he turned passive into active, responding to me passionately. In my mind, it was his inner monologue exploding like fireworks. She kissed me. She kissed me again. My wife loves me so much. I, Zane, am the happiest man in the world. That night was both long and short. The next morning, I woke up to the aroma of food. Sunlight streamed through the gap in the curtains as I stretched lazily, feeling completely refreshed. The space beside me was already empty, but the sheets still carried his refreshing scent. I slipped on my slippers and walked out of the bedroom to see Zane bustling around in the kitchen, still wearing that pink strawberry-patterned apron. Hearing the noise, he turned around, spotted me, and his cheeks flushed slightly as his gaze shifted away uncomfortably. Awake? She looks even more beautiful today. Her skin is so fair, like milk. But she's wearing a bit less, what if she catches a cold? I looked down at the spaghetti strap nightgown I was wearing. It was indeed a little too revealing. Go put on some clothes. He frowned, his tone slightly stern. I didn't move. Instead, I walked toward him and hugged him from behind. It's not cold, how could I be cold with you as my little heater? I said with a grin. His body stiffened again. A little heater. She called me a little heater. I love that name. I'll be her personal little heater for life. He turned off the stove, faced me, and pulled me into a tight embrace. Then, like carrying a child, he scooped me up, carried me back to the bedroom, tossed me onto the bed, and wrapped me in the blanket like a cocoon silkworm. Don't come out until I make breakfast, he commanded, looking down at me imperiously. Snuggled under the covers, I watched his flustered retreat and burst into uncontrollable laughter. During breakfast, the atmosphere was warm. He peeled an egg for me, served porridge, and took care of every little detail. I'm returning to the team this afternoon, he suddenly said. My heart skipped a beat. Time together always feels so fleeting. How long will you be gone this time? 1 month. I really don't want to leave. I want to spend every day clinging to my wife. Maybe I should submit a request to transfer out of the military? No, I love this uniform. Luna married me, knowing she'd be a military wife. She should understand. I looked at him and nodded. All right, I'll wait for you to come back. Take care of yourself in the army, and don't get hurt. She's so good, she understands me. I really married an angel. After I leave, will she be scared alone at home? Will anyone bully her? That woman Ava definitely won't let this go. I won't be home. If anything comes up, call the military unit or go find political commissar Nathan, his wife is your good friend. Zane repeated uneasily. Got it, so Nagy, I muttered dismissively, though my heart warmed with affection. After the meal, he packed his belongings, a simple knapsack with a few changes of clothes. I walked him to the door. He laced up his military boots, his tall frame casting a shadow across the threshold. He hesitated, looking at me as though wanting to say more. Want to hold her. Want to kiss her. But this uniform is too solemn, not suited for such sappy gestures. I took a step forward and straightened his collar for him. Zane, I looked up into his eyes, next time you come back, bring me some snow lotus from Galmud, okay? My best friend says it's good for the skin when brewed in water. I was just casually making up an excuse to let him know I'd be waiting for him. He froze for a moment, then nodded emphatically, okay. I'll get you not just snow lotuses, I'll pluck the stars from the sky for you. My wife's first task for me must be completed. Only my wife is so thoughtful, giving me something to look forward to. He gave me a deep look, turned around, and strode away with vigorous steps. I stood at the doorway, watching his back disappear around the corner of the hallway, feeling an emptiness in my heart. That afternoon, while I was reading at home, my mother-in-law called. As soon as the call connected, she bombarded me with sharp accusations. Luna. Did you bully Ava? She called me crying, saying you kicked her out of the house. How could you be so unreasonable? Ava's father sacrificed his life to save your father-in-law. Our family owes her a life. What's wrong with letting her endure a little grievance? Her voice was sharp and harsh, like a drill boring into my ears. In the past, I would have been so upset that I'd cry, stammering clumsy explanations, only to be met with her retort, flies don't sting a seamless egg. But now, I'm no longer the pushover I used to be. Mom, first of all, this is my home, not Zane's dormitory. I decide who gets to come in. Secondly, Ava, an unmarried woman, shows up with soup when Zane is on leave. What do you think she's trying to do? Don't play dumb. My tone was neither submissive nor aggressive, but carried a cold edge. My mother-in-law on the other end of the line clearly didn't expect me to be so firm and was momentarily speechless. How dare you talk like that? She was just bringing soup. Your mind is so dirty. Filthy? Mom, Zane is a military officer. You know the penalty for sabotaging a military marriage better than I do. I'm protecting the reputation of our entire family. Or do you think your daughter-in-law is less important than an outsider? I immediately elevated the issue to a matter of principle. My mother-in-law was left speechless by my rebuttal. You're twisting logic. Whether it's twisted logic is for you to decide. Mom, Zane protects our country in the military, and I maintain our home. We are a united front. I hope you understand that. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up now, I'm in the middle of reading. Without waiting for her response, I hung up. Peace at last. When dealing with a biased mother-in-law, constant compromise is useless, you have to stand your ground even firmer than she does. I thought the matter was over, but unexpectedly, the next day, Ava actually caused a scene at my workplace. I work as an editor at a magazine. When she arrived, we were in the middle of a creative meeting. She barged straight into the conference room, her eyes red as a rabbit's, pointed at me, and began sobbing, "Luna, I know you don't like me, but you didn't have to complain to your mother-in-law and have her call to scold me. My dad died saving Zane's dad, our families have been friends for generations. How does visiting Zane make me a homewrecker? Why would you slander me like this?" Her outburst drew the attention of the entire office. Watching her tearful performance, I scoffed inwardly. This woman had clearly planned this when Zane wasn't home, aiming to blow things up and socially destroy me. "Ava, I just saw you yesterday. What kind of performance is this today?" I stood up, crossed my arms, and looked at her calmly. "I'm the one performing? Luna, how can you say that? Auntie herself admitted it was you who forced her to call me." She cried even harder, as if she had suffered an immense injustice. The colleagues began whispering, casting strange looks in my direction. I knew this kind of salacious gossip has always been people's favorite topic. If I didn't handle this properly, by tomorrow, I could become the office's infamous other woman. "Did my mother-in-law call you?" "What did she say?" I asked. "She said, she told me to stay away from Zane from now on, called me a seductress." Ava sobbed. "Oh? My mother-in-law said that?" I raised an eyebrow. "Do you have a recording?" Ava froze. Why would I record it? "That means the evidence is gone with the dead," I shrugged, glancing at my colleagues with a smile. "Everyone, sorry for holding up the meeting. This young lady is the orphan child of my husband's comrade, and our families have always been close. Maybe it's because my husband and I are too loving that she's developed some inappropriate misunderstandings. Yesterday she came to my home, and after I politely declined her, she's making a scene at the workplace today." My words were half-truths, both explaining the situation and subtly slapping the label of homewrecker on her. "You're lying." "I didn't." Ava panicked. "You didn't what? Didn't misunderstand, or didn't want to be my husband's good little sister?" I pressed on relentlessly. Just as we were confronting each other, the atmosphere tense and unresolved, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered, and a calm male voice came through. "Luna? This is Nathan, the political commissar of Zane's unit." "Nathan, hello." My heart skipped a beat, my first thought being that something had happened to Zane. "Don't worry," Nathan's voice was gentle, "Zane asked me to call you. He accidentally broke his phone during training today and can't contact you temporarily. He wanted me to let you know he's fine and not to worry." Hearing this, my anxious heart was somewhat eased. "By the way, he also asked me to handle a private matter." Nathan changed the tone. "He mentioned that a lady named Ava might cause some trouble in your life. The military has formally communicated with Ava's workplace and contacted her family. We hope such incidents won't happen again. If she continues to harass you, you can directly call the police or contact me." Nathan's voice came through the phone speaker clearly, loud enough for everyone in the office to hear. Ava's face instantly turned deathly pale. She never expected that even though Zane wasn't here, he had arranged everything perfectly. The gazes of our colleagues around us shifted from mere spectators to outright disdain towards Ava and sympathy for me. Did you hear that, Ava? I held up my phone towards her. Even the military has stepped in. Do you really want to keep up this act? Ava's lips trembled, but not a single coherent word came out. I. She stammered for a long time before finally covering her face, bursting into tears, and running out of our office. And so, the farcical drama came to an end. The editor-in-chief walked over and patted me on the shoulder. Are you okay? For situations like this in the future, just have security kick them out. I smiled and said, I'm fine, editor-in-chief. Thank you. My colleagues also came over one after another to comfort me, expressing their disdain for the green tea and their admiration for the military wife. Although I had one, I didn't feel at ease inside. Zane. He was so far away, yet his heart was always thinking of me. He could even predict that Ava would come to make a scene and made arrangements in advance. This man hides all his love in his actions. At night, I lay alone on the empty bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Without Zane by my side and without the sound of his noisy inner voice, I actually felt somewhat unaccustomed. I took out my phone and scrolled through the few pictures we had taken together. In every photo, he wore that same stern expression, while I forced a smile. Looking at them now, I finally noticed that although he never smiled, his deep eyes were always filled with my reflection. Just as my thoughts wandered, my phone suddenly vibrated. It was a friend request. The profile picture was a dark night sky dotted with a few stars. As if guided by some unseen force, I tapped accept. The other party quickly sent a message, Sis, I'm Zane's comrade in arms. His phone's broken, so he asked me to say hi. I looked at the message and felt something was off. The tone of this message. I tentatively replied, Which comrade in arms are you? I don't remember him mentioning you. The reply came instantly, just joined. I grew more doubtful. With a sly grin, I typed out a message, Oh, in that case, tell him I went to the hospital for a checkup today, and the doctor said, I'm pregnant. After sending the message, silence fell on the other end. A full 5 minutes passed before my phone started ringing frantically. It was a video call from that unfamiliar number. I tapped to answer. The screen lit up with a face I knew all too well, now etched with anxiety and wild joy. The backdrop showed an army barracks dormitory, and he was wearing a military green tank top, his hair still damp, clearly fresh from training. You're telling me it's real? His voice trembled. Not a trace of the icy battalion commander remained. I looked at him and smiled. Zane, didn't you say your phone was broken? On the other end of the video, Zane froze completely. The wild joy on his face hadn't faded yet, but now it was mixed with the embarrassment and panic of being caught, his expression as colorful as a painter's palette. It was broken, this is, borrowed from a teammate, he stammered, his eyes darting everywhere but at me. But I could clearly hear the scream in his heart, I'm doomed. She found out. She must think I'm a liar. I just missed her so much, afraid she'd overthink things alone at home, so I came up with this stupid idea. I didn't mean to lie to her. Oh? So your comrades are quite nice to you, letting you borrow their phones? I was deliberately teasing him. I burst out laughing. Watching his embarrassed expression of wanting to crawl into a hole, my heart melted completely. Alright, I'll stop teasing you, I softened my voice. I'm not pregnant, I was just kidding. He visibly relaxed, but then his eyes dimmed again, filled with disappointment. It's not real. I thought, sigh, never mind, how could it be so soon? But, I changed the tone, if you work a little harder, maybe next time you come back, there will be one. Through the screen, I blinked at him. Zane's face instantly turned as red as a boiled shrimp, flushing from his cheeks all the way down to his neck. I'll do my best, he declared firmly, as if making a vow. I must work hard. Work my ass off. I'll file a report to request extra physical training as soon as I get back. I must do 200 pull-ups at once. I was thoroughly amused by the bizarre thoughts running through his mind. You dummy, I scolded with a laugh. He watched me laugh and then followed with a silly grin of his own. That was the first time I saw him smile so broadly, his eyes sparkling like they were filled with stars, bright and dazzling. Thank you for what you did for Ava, I said. No need, he said, his smile fading a little, his expression turning serious. She shouldn't have bothered you. It won't happen again. Whoever dares to bully my wife will find out why the flowers are so red. I nodded firmly. We just chatted across the screen like that, talking about a lot of things. About my work, about his training, and even about the trivial matters we'd never brought up before. I realized that he wasn't actually a man of few words, he just didn't know how to talk to me. And my mind-reading cheat skill happened to become the bridge between us. Before hanging up, he looked at me and said softly, Luna, wait for me to come back. Wait for me to come back, and I'll make up for everything I owe you. I'll take you to eat all the best food around the base, climb the highest mountains, and watch the most beautiful sunrises. I'll make you the happiest military wife in the world. Okay, I'll wait for you. I smiled, though my eyes glistened with moisture. The following month passed peacefully and fulfillingly for me. Ava never appeared again, and my mother-in-law didn't call to pick fights either. Every day, I commuted to and from work, read books or worked out during my free time, and occasionally went shopping with Sophie. Each evening, I'd video call Zane briefly. Though most of the time I was the one speaking while he listened, I knew he kept every word I said in his heart. I could even sense his love for me and his eagerness to return home from his increasingly bright eyes. The month passed by quickly. The day of his return arrived. I started cleaning the house the day before, changing the bedsheets and even going to the supermarket to buy his favorite dishes. But I waited from morning till night, until the food was completely cold, and that familiar figure never appeared. The phone calls wouldn't go through either. I began to feel panicked. Just as I was growing restless, a call came through from Nathan. His voice was exhausted and heavy. He said, Luna, brace yourself. Zane and the others encountered a landslide on their way back. Now, they've lost contact. In that instant, I felt as if the entire world had gone silent. A buzzing filled my ears, and my heart seemed to be clenched by an invisible hand, the pain so intense I could hardly breathe. Lost contact, what does that mean? I heard my own voice trembling. It means, we can't reach them for now. Nathan's voice was heavy with sorrow. Don't panic, we've already sent out a search team. I'll notify you the moment we have any updates. I don't know how I managed to hang up the phone. The phone slipped from my hand, fell to the floor, and the screen shattered. I collapsed on the ground, my entire body ice cold. Zane is missing. That man who would call me fairy wife in his heart, that man who would blush at just one word from me, that man who hid all his love in his actions. He's missing. I don't even dare to think what those two words imply. Like a madwoman, I charged out of the house. I need to find him. No matter where he is, I must find him. But just as I reached the ground floor, two people stopped me. Two female soldiers sent by Nathan. Sister-in-law, calm down. The situation in the mountains is very complicated right now. You can't go there. Let me go. I have to find him. I struggled and cried out. But my strength was no match for trained soldiers. They took me home, staying by my side to comfort me. Yet I couldn't take in any of their words. Only one thought filled my mind, Zane, you can't be hurt. You promised me, to watch the sunrise together, to make me the happiest military wife. How could you break your word? Time passed second by second, each second feeling as long as a century. Without a drop of water, I kept my eyes open, staring out the window, from night until dawn. The second day, the third day, still no news from the rescue team. I was on the verge of collapse. Sophie and my parents rushed over and stayed by my side. My mother-in-law and father-in-law also came. My mother-in-law cried until she fainted multiple times, grasping my hand and repeatedly saying, "It's all my fault, it's all because I was unkind to you before." Luna, Zane, he must be all right, right? Looking at her face, which seemed to have aged 10 years overnight, I couldn't utter a single word of comfort. Because even I was almost at my breaking point. Just as everyone was sinking into despair, my cracked screen phone miraculously rang. It was an unknown number. With trembling hands, I pressed the answer button. On the other end of the line, chaos erupted, howling winds, pouring rain, and the urgent shouts of many people. Then, a faint yet all too familiar voice came through. Luna. It's Zane. It's Zane's voice. My tears instantly overflowed. Zane. You bastard. Where the hell have you been? I cried and cursed. Sorry, to have worried you. His voice was intermittent, as weak as a whisper. Don't be afraid. I'm home. The call ended just like that. But those words, I'm home, were like a shot of adrenaline, injected into my exhausted life. He's fine. He's still alive. I later found out that their convoy encountered a sudden second landslide while passing through a mountain pass. Zane was hit in the leg by a falling boulder while shielding a new recruit and, along with 2 other soldiers, became trapped in the valley. The signal was lost, completely cutting off contact with the outside world. In the desperate situation without food or water, he relied on his incredible willpower to endure with the 2 injured soldiers for a full 5 days and 4 nights in the valley. When the rescue team found them, his leg was severely infected, he had a high fever that wouldn't break, and he had fallen unconscious multiple times. While unconscious, he kept murmuring my name. I saw Zane outside the intensive care unit at the hospital. He lay on the hospital bed, his face as pale as paper, his leg in a thick cast, and his body connected to various tubes. Through the glass, I looked at him, my heart aching beyond measure. This is my husband. A hero who stands tall and unyielding. A fool, who almost didn't make it back. He stayed in the hospital for over a month. With a comminuted fracture in his leg and a severe infection, the doctors said it was already a miracle that his leg could be saved. In the future, he probably won't be able to return to the military, the place he loves so dearly. When he woke up, he remained silent for a long time. I couldn't bear to listen to his thoughts, I was afraid to hear his despair and pain. Yet I still heard it. Perhaps, this way, I'll have enough time to be with her. No loss, no resentment, just calmness, and plans for my future. My tears welled up instantly. I held his hand and pressed it against my face. Zane, no matter what happens to you, I want you. If you can't go back to the army, it's okay, I'll take care of you. He looked at me, and for the first time a glimmer of moisture appeared in those deep eyes. With his other hand, he gently wiped away my tears. Silly girl, he said. My divine wife. I heard him think in his heart. Zane's body gradually improved under my careful care. Although he would walk with a slight limp in the future, he remained optimistic and persistently did his rehabilitation exercises every day. The military applied for a second-class merit award for him and arranged for his transfer to civilian work. He chose to return to our city and found a relatively relaxed job at the local armed forces department. On the day he was discharged, the sun was shining brightly. I pushed him in his wheelchair as we walked along the tree-lined path in the hospital. Luna, he suddenly spoke up, let's remarry. I was taken aback for a moment before I remembered, our torn-up divorce agreement had no legal effect. We've always been husband and wife. We never actually divorced, I said. No, he looked at me earnestly, in the past, it was my fault. I left you alone at home, I didn't know how to love you properly. Now, I want to start over. I want to pursue you again, propose to you once more, and give you a proper wedding. I will give you the best the world has to offer. I want you to know that marrying me was the smartest decision of your life. I looked at his serious face and the burning vows in his heart. Smiling, until I cried. Good. I nodded firmly. 3 months later, Zane's leg had almost fully recovered. Leaning on his crutch, he held a large bouquet of roses and knelt on one knee in front of my workplace. In front of all my colleagues, he proposed to me. Ms. Luna, I, Zane, apply to be your lifelong partner, mission duration, a lifetime. Please, grant your approval. His voice boomed as if reporting in the military. Colleagues around us were cheering. Looking at the sweat on his temples and his slightly trembling hands from nervousness, I smiled brighter than sunlight. Approved. Later, we held a grand wedding ceremony. At the wedding, in front of all our loved ones, he solemnly pinned a military medal on my chest. He said, "The Medal of Honor is half mine and half yours. Luna, thank you for being willing to be my military wife." At that moment, I heard a phrase in his heart, crystal clear. "Wife, I love you." I also silently responded in my heart. "Zane, me too."